Welcome my acolytes, I'm Graveseeker and today I'm making a reaction video to Count Dankula's Modern Art is Dumb. The only thing why am I doing it, it's because I actually think this is a pretty important point. The deterioration of art is pretty obvious, let's say it like that, and it's lazy, it's dumb, and by the way, I personally didn't look at this video right now. This is a first time reaction. So yeah, let's see what he has to say. And by the way, I'm a fan of him. And the start isn't maybe not the most flattering of all, but it is what it is. Not my problem, it's his. Still, love you, Count Dankula. Truly. Good. Let's start. Oops, wrong button.
Art, a representation of talent, intellect, and most importantly, culture.
Already I love the start, by the way. This guy's start are freaking awesome.
There was a time where you couldn't walk the streets without seeing beautiful architecture, monuments, carvings, and statues that conveyed a sense of beauty and pride in one's culture and people.
He's so correct about that. I grew up in Poland, as many of you may know, and one of the things that I really loved was the old parts of town. There were most of the times old buildings, statues, and something that's just always represents the old culture, the culture that you actually have. Even though the biggest city I was in was Opole, and it's also such a beautiful, nice thing. Just alone the culture, the artistic things, the museums there, the churches there, everything is just beautifully crafted, and you see the talent in every single part of it.
Then there are the other kinds of art.
The fucking modern art. I remember a fucking guy that just taped a banana on a fucking on the wall, and yeah, that's art. What the F? Honestly.
Art that is made as a joke, and since it's a joke, it does get a pass. Art that is made to essentially launder money, or art that is absolutely talentless garbage that a mentally deficient chimpanzee could have made, and you just don't understand it because you're not cultured enough.
Yep. Yep, exactly that. I had so many situations where somebody draw fucking two circles around in each other, the one pink, the one blue, and they thought, this is art, this is worth like 1,000 euro. You just don't understand it, Gravy. And so, fuck off, I can do the same thing in 3 seconds, learn something, learn how to draw and do stuff good, not bullshit.
So let's have a look at some dumb art.
Oh, he's gonna... Oh, yeah, the troll art? Yeah, by the way, the troll art?
Make your bad habits in an innovative...
Oh, filming, no, gonna skip that.
I had a chance to try all three of these flavours, and they are all delicious. We now talking about good art. We are talking about /day. That's try, fume, F-U-M, ill, and meaning. Though in the modern day, people are told that anyone can be an artist. I mean,
nope.
Yeah, absolutely, you can give it a go. Everyone can produce art, but not...
Everyone can produce... Yeah, I actually agree with that one. You can try to do it, but you're not an artist just because you did some stuff. It doesn't work that way.
Not everyone can produce good art. Some people are naturals, some need a little bit of practice, and others are a lost cause.
Yeah. Yes, you really need some practice in it, because in my case, let's just say that in my case, when I was younger, I actually drawn a lot of things. I was pretty talented in it, but over the years I just lost this. And after I tried to just draw my character Graveseeker, I just crushed my worldview, where I was like, oh my, this is so bad that I just hired someone to do it for me, because I was so ashamed of my own produced thing. I'm actually practicing right now, so I get halfway decent in it. But the thing is, if you want good art, you really need to really work for it. Maybe there are some talents, but if you have talent, the only thing that a talent does is that you learn the things quicker. That's all.
Today, we are not talking about good art. We are talking about art that barely deserves the title, or art that was done as a joke. The kind of lazy work that modern artists put out, hoping to make some easy cash. You won't see many examples of works like David by Michelangelo in a modern art exhibit. You're more likely to see something like this. Well, once we had absolutely amazing detail to such a level that it inspired...
Look at this, even the veins, this, everything. Look at this. This is only a hand. Even the fingernail. This part, I know how this is called. Like the middle finger, it has all the wrinkles in it. Damn.
We now have...
dick face. This shit. My niece could do the same shit if she wanted. My 5-year-old niece. And maybe I would need a bit longer, but what the fuck is this?
This dick-faced monstrosity. Trolling can be an art form in itself, but it still requires...
And yeah, by the way, everybody that looks at this knows it's a dick face.
There's a level of skill and consistency similar to any other art, with the exception of humour. But sometimes the art world will eat up any old rubbish anyway. And in some cases, they literally did. Before I go into the art, I need to explain what Dadaism is, since it relates to many controversial and wacky artists that are going to be mentioned in this video. Dadaism was an art movement that began in Europe during the early 20th century as a reaction to the horrific experiences of World War I. Dadaists rejected the logic, rationality and aestheticism of modern society, instead expressing nonsense, irrationality and anti-bourgeois protest in their works. Dadaism was about rejecting standard art and creating things that were meant to shock and provoke. Dadaists believed that the world had been made insane by war, so their art should be just as insane. They rejected traditional forms of art such as painting and sculpture in favour of more experimental forms, including music. Dadaists...
I agree with everything, and by the way, this guy, I don't know what team is behind him, or if he... No, he doesn't. I know he has a team behind him. The information gathering of them is always so precise. You can, most of the things, you can just hear him and just take his word for it. And 98% of the time, he's just correct. I would still advise to check everything anyone says. Just double check if it's clear, if it's that. But normally you can just trust what he says, even in this case. In Dadaism, it's extremely good explained.
Works often feature nonsensical images, absurd juxtapositions, and random words and phrases. There was a couple of theories as to how the movement got its name. Some believed it was randomly selected by Richard Hulsenbeck when he slid a letter opener into a dictionary and chose whatever word that the point was pointing at. Others believe it was based on the first word that many children speak, but most people believe that it's just as nonsensical as the movement itself and has no meaning whatsoever. One of the more recent incidents involving this movement that many of you may already know about involved a banana at Art Basel in Miami Beach. An artist
he talks about
duct taped a banana to a wall and titled the piece Comedian.
And sometime later, a different artist came along, ate the thing, and said, "This is art." That he ate a banana.
Maybe because none of this can or should be taken seriously. Many people found it extremely hard to consider this art, and they were especially confused when the piece sold for $120,000. The piece was made by the Italian artist Maurizio Catalan.
For fuck's sake, I didn't know that one. I'll be honest, I didn't know it sold for 120. What the oh my god. Imagine you work the entire year at back crushing job and some fucker goes just puts a banana on the wall, sticks it in there and gets 130k. What the
who was previously known for creating an 18-karat gold toilet with a value of $6 million.
Damn.
Which
Yeah.
was
but
later
that's-
stolen from the Blenheim Palace and still hasn't been found to this day. It's probably been melted down and used for a better purpose.
Yep.
But back to the banana. During the exhibit, another artist walked up to the art piece, removed the duct tape and proceeded to confidently start eating the banana in front of all of the shocked attendees. The artist was David Datuna, a performance artist from Georgia. And when he was asked if he felt bad about vandalising another artist's work, he simply said, "It wasn't vandalism, it was an art performance from me, and I absolutely am not sorry."
Yes, and this guy, I literally, I know what else he did in life, but this, fuck my life, this was, damn, it was beautiful. Like, and if you really want to replicate the freaking art, just put another banana on the wall. What the fuck? Honestly, what the shit? Yeah, he finds it way funnier than me.
He even went on to tell them that he had titled this new piece Hungry Artist. And when he was asked why he did it, he said, "Because I was hungry and I just ate it." There is some level of absolute Chad behaviour in there, especially since the original piece, let's face it, was pointless, overpriced shite that had absolutely no meaning. So this guy decided to joke on the possible joke. Maybe this was all set up as one big long game art performance, but I hope it wasn't, because there's something extremely funny about an artist sitting there crying, watching some shit poster eating his £120,000 banana art piece. A well-known Dada artist by the name of Marcel Duchamp had gone to a plumbing store and bought a porcelain toilet. He took it home and did some very, very minor modifications to it.
Oh yeah, he wrote something down.
Armut 1917 on the side, and then titled it Fountain. This kind of art is called ready-made art, which is exactly as it sounds. An artist will buy something pre-made by someone else and then modify it very slightly, which, according to artists, makes it new art. Sometimes enough changes are made to actually make it something new, but in most cases, it's borderline just selling someone else's work.
Yes, it's
he was known
just selling
for doing things out of the ordinary and sometimes almost childish. Like when he made a parody of the Mona Lisa where he just simply added the detail of giving her a moustache. There is a more technical term for this type of art. It's called being fucking lazy. One of the more funny antics that
yes, you can also call it that, but in my eyes it's simple, because after you get to a point where you can sell shit like that, where you're a totally lazy effing bum and you just can't be bothered to do anything correct, you just get money stuffed in your effing ass. That's sick. I could abuse that, because if I could abuse that, I would. If I knew how to abuse that stuff, I would do it instantly, pay everything off I got, and just live a nice, solitary, chilled life and do it.
Duchamp did was design exhibits in a way to make it harder or more dangerous for the viewers. In 1938, he hung coal bags from the ceiling that were full of newspapers, which was deemed a pretty major fire hazard. And not only that, he made the inside of the exhibit pitch black, so people had to use lit torches to view the art pieces. Which is, that's That's so fucking dangerous. But then later in 1942 at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, he made an art piece out of the entire gallery by forcing people to climb through what can only be described as the aftermath of Spider-Man having a wank. These are obviously much more of a troll, so I have a lot more respect for these ones. Maybe not so much the whole coal bag thing, because, you know, I'm down for
dangerous.
trolling, but not to a point where it can get everyone killed in a
in a fucking fire, yeah. It's dangerous, but it at least showed some kind of investment of your time.
fire. Our next artist is the Charlie Zelenoff of art, where she thinks she's amazing at it, but she's actually shit and no one likes her. Yoko Ono. Now, people say that Yoko's art is too simplistic or nonsensical.
What do you mean simplistic? She just fucked up the Beatles, and now she just drains it, and people just want to see the disaster that's Yoko Ono. Oh my god, her singing. He's probably gonna show it. You can hear it out. It will be F me.
While others accuse her of just being an attention seeker.
Yep.
Some people have speculated that her work is specifically making fun of art in general, and that she is part of the Dada movement. So it would make sense that she would dabble in nonsensical art. In reality, it really isn't that deep. She's just fucking mental. She is there's just something wrong with her.
Yep.
She was the woman who destroyed the Beatles and also a once very entertaining YouTuber. While she does attempt to make more traditional kinds of art, she usually prefers performance art. And you're only getting one watch.
Check this one out.
Prepare your ears, because you are going to absolutely love the beautiful tones that she belts out here. She has the voice of an angel, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Now, screaming your lungs out down the microphone isn't all that controversial. I mean, it seems to be the go-to for a lot of modern-day feminists, but when she released her album, Season of Glass, people were rather shocked to see that she had used John Lennon's glasses on the cover. And it wasn't just a standard pair of glasses that looked like his. They were the pair covered in his blood from when he was assassinated. People were already pissed off at Yoko's antics throughout the years. After all, she did kill the Beatles, and they also believed that she was just coasting off of the Beatles' fame to make money.
Yep.
And this made a lot of people furious, because not only was she still using John for financial gain long after his death, but also the fact that she was using those specific pair of glasses, well, that was just...
She's disrespectful and drags the name of someone who was a legend just through the dirt to make some extra bucks. And this fucking bitch is just batshit insane.
Just seen as very bad taste. But if we want to talk about bad taste album covers, then look no further than Dawn of the Black Hearts by Mayhem. Only Google that if you have a very strong stomach, and before you ask, yes, that is a real picture. In 2018, Latvian artist Arthur Berzinch did a shock performance art piece titled Eschatology, where a woman dressed in a white hazmat suit approaches two sitting performers and starts to cut pieces of skin from their backs with a scalpel. She then walks up to a frying pan and starts to cook the skin. And if this wasn't shocking enough for the people watching it on Facebook Live, yes, this was live streamed to the internet, the woman then starts to feed the performer's skin to themselves. So this art piece was performers eating their own cooked skin.
Oh my god, this is disgusting. I have to look it up. Wait. damn it!
For a
this
short
is real.
time, it went viral.
Fuck me, don't look it up. This is disgusting. Oh. I am still... Okay.
And
okay.
many people complained about it. But so far, the artist said that he hasn't gotten into any legal trouble despite the controversy, and the police have not yet been in touch with him. Whether it's art or not is debatable, but they're all consenting adults, free to make their own extremely stupid decisions, but they definitely need therapy. As for the
therapy, don't show your effing fetish on live. Like, don't do it. Why? What the fuck?
The hidden meaning, the secret. Do you see what the artist was trying to say here? You know, the hidden meaning. One's never been established. Art gives a lot of people the excuse to do the really, really weird shit that they kind of get off on and want to do.
Yeah.
But if they just go, it's art, they just kind of get a pass. And if you don't like it, well, you just don't understand art. Now for an artist that most of you have probably heard of, Banksy. Banksy used to be anti-establishment until the establishment adopted his views, so now technically he is pro-establishment. Some of his old pieces were purposely made to piss people off, mainly authority figures such as the police, government and celebrities. He took a jab at advertising and even started a temporary theme park called Dismaland, which was purposely made to be depressing. The exhibits contained a lot of social commentary about immigration, which you will all most likely disagree with because it lines up perfectly with the establishment's views. Have you seen the current state of immigration? I honestly have no fucking idea what Banksy's complaining about. But other social and political topics were also covered. The staff were told
not just in the UK, mate. In Germany, same shit.
Not to smile and to be as rude as they wanted to the park goers, which is really not an irregular experience in the UK. One of the most controversial exhibits that he had created was the car crash of Princess Diana, which he did in the style of a Disney fairy tale. Which, that was a little bit of a spicy meatball, but I mean, come on, that's quite funny. One of the exhibits is a riot van that was used during the IRA riots, and it had been converted into a water fountain with the water coming out of the water cannons that were used to knock down protesters. There is a short documentary about the park titled One Day in Dismaland, which I do recommend you go and watch. Banksy also left an entire art auction in shock when his piece, Girl with Balloon, sold for just over £1 million. And it was then immediately shredded.
60,000. Last chance. Bastien, are we bidding? And selling for 860,000. Thank you very much.
Look at this. Just look at this. I'm gonna pause here. You have to look at this right now. What happens, and after that, remember, people after this happened told it's worth more now. Literally effing shredded and destroyed.
Banksy had actually built a custom frame with a remote-controlled shredder built inside of it. So, at the event, he anonymously hid in the audience and purposefully triggered the shredder right after it had sold. Some might say that it was ruined, which seemed to be the intention, but of course, wanky art people all believe that the shredding itself was art too, and actually places a lot more value on the piece. I mean, that is some level of cope, but unfortunately, this act did actually raise the price of the piece, which was renamed to Love is in the Bin, and it sold again for £18.5 million.
Yep, it did. And this is, those things, like, this stuff is for people that have way too much money.
At this point, Banksy has become too much of a big name for any more IRL trolling, despite all of the theories to his identity, with some people thinking they actually managed to figure out who Banksy is. But they were very, very wrong. Because in 2022, someone spread a rumour that a local councillor for Pembroke Dock named Billy Gannon was Banksy. At first it was believed that the rumours would die down, but...
Yeah, he says about the poor guy, he didn't absolutely have nothing to do with it, and he got harassed.
They didn't. In fact, the harassment of the councillor got so bad that he decided to quit the job. When he was questioned about this entire event, he said, "How am I supposed to prove that I'm not somebody who doesn't exist? Just how do you do that?" I know that every time Banksy gets mentioned in a video, I always give him shit. And it's because he is someone that I once massively respected and looked up to. I mean, I've got a fucking Banksy tattooed on me, for fuck's sake. But the reason I don't like him now is because I fell for his LARP. He's a LARPer. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dismaland and the Shredding were incredibly funny and a lot of his artwork is still very insightful. But with just a little bit of research, you can see that he is nowhere near as anti-government or anti-authoritarian as he makes himself out to be. He's one of those guys that, I don't really believe in private property, man. And he's actually pro-authoritarian as long as it's the kind of authoritarianism that upholds his beliefs. He's basically your standard Twitter leftist or Reddit anarchist.
I would say Reddit moderator, but fair enough.
He's a LARPer. Another artist was Damien Hirst, who sold a piece titled For the Love of God, which was apparently inspired by his mother saying, "For the love of God, what are you going to do next?" The piece is a diamond-encrusted skull that sold for £50 million, which was the highest-selling art piece.
But let's be fair. This looks freaking awesome. Especially this part, like. This skull, as it is, it looks freaking awesome. But the problem with it is, this is a real skull. I don't remember from which era, because it's not a modern that human being, but I know it's a real skull. Yeah, that's a bit distasteful, to be honest.
By a living artist. Hirst spent £12 million on the diamonds, and £3 million of that was spent on the larger diamond set in the forehead of the skull. The reason that this was seen as a troll was Hirst's attitude towards it, and that other artists and fans thought it was just a quick money grab for Hirst, and it contained no art at all. I mean...
I would say this is still art. It has... It could be a money grab, but it also could be art. I'm not sure about that one.
You can literally buy things like this for the gear stick in your car. It was also controversial because the skull isn't fake. It is a real human skull from the 18th century. Although, allow me to get a little bit artsy for a second and say that the piece was clearly made as a commentary on the pointlessness of wealth after death, or something like that. Others said that it was somehow a victory over decay, but I'm sure everyone has their own opinion on whatever poncy, artsy-fartsy message that this piece was supposed to convey. Or it could just be an extremely expensive skull and nothing else. Another art piece that sold for millions was called One Mint 6, or Ornament 6. I've no idea how it's pronounced, and I don't care to find out. It was sold for $43.8 million at Sotheby's auction. And it was controversial because... like, what is that? Like, that's...
I didn't see that.
That's crap. That's terrible. I mean, at least you could pull some kind of meaning behind Damien Hirst's skull, but... this was just a fraction better than the type of artwork that your child draws that you pretend to like.
Yeah.
There was
literally
no talent or skill involved in this whatsoever. I could make this, which makes the ridiculous selling price even funnier.
Thank you very much indeed. $28 million.
Are you fucking serious?
And now for some smaller events that don't involve millions of dollars or famous artists, all they require is a gullible audience. In 2015, at Museon, a museum...
Now we're talking. The freaking people who have way too much money on their hands can just throw it out without any problem.
Museum for Modern and Contemporary Art in Bolzano, Italy, there was an installation by artists Sarah Goldschmied and Eleonora Chiari, which consisted of 300 empty wine bottles, cigarette butts, and confetti. So it looked just like the aftermath of a party or a soon-to-be cat lady's apartment. So it's no wonder that when the gallery cleaners came in without any knowledge of the exhibit and they were told to clean up, well, they did their job and they cleaned the room up. They literally thought that art was trash because it literally was just a pile of trash, and they threw it all in bags and threw it out. A 17-year-old prankster named TJ Kayatan...
Wait, but let's be real. Where is it? If you see that trash component there, I can't find it. Can I? Yep. If you see this, you assume it's just dirt. Like, what normal human being would assume that this is art?
Come on. Glasses on the floor of the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art after they started to question whether some of these exhibits should even be considered art. Of course, as soon as they saw the glasses, the mindless hordes of the gallery walked up and started to take pictures. What could this mean? Surely this says a lot about society. I think what the artist was trying to do... Shut your fucking mouth. You know, the usual wanky things that come out of those pretentious arseholes' mouths. The glasses were eventually picked up by the friend who put them on and walked away while laughing. And the reaction of the onlookers was, you know, it was just priceless. There was this weird, awkward moment where people realised that they had just been bamboozled. That wasn't even the only time that gallery visitors were that gullible. Someone had dropped a single glove on the floor in New York's Museum of Modern Art, which wasn't even a prank. Someone had just genuinely, accidentally dropped their glove. Yet, that didn't stop the people in the gallery walking around the glove, cautiously admiring it and thinking it was an exhibit. Yes, I can see here that the artist is trying to say that he's lost his fucking glove. I don't fucking know. This is how ridiculous modern art has gotten. I mean, see if you can't tell if something is art or not, then either it's shite art or it's just not art. Like, the fact that something as simple as this could be mistaken for modern art shows the problem with modern art. Modern art, if you've noticed this, is really easy to make. Have you noticed that? It requires, like, no talent or time to actually produce the stuff. You can literally drop a glove in the middle of the floor, which takes half a fucking second, and people will still consider that as modern art.
Yep.
Which says a lot about modern art. Now, there is one kind of exhibit that shows up every now and then, and those exhibits involve showing off various piles of bricks in all shapes and sizes. Now, I'm just going to assume that this one is a troll. Maybe it was done for a bit of fun, maybe a little bit of irony about what counts as art these days, but some of the artists do seem pretty serious about it. Then again, a lot of modern art can seem that way since a lot of the time it is created through pure laziness. I mean, moving a few bricks into a square or another simple shape isn't exactly a hard day's graft, is it? And it also doesn't require the skill of a brickie who actually benefits the world with his creations.
Yep.
Modern art kind of has the same problem that a lot of us have on the internet, where you can't tell what's real and what's trolling since things have gotten so ridiculous it's now very difficult to tell them apart. The troll art is absolutely hilarious since it directly takes the piss out of modern art, so by all means, please keep doing that. But as for actual genuine attempts at...
The troll art is actually generally, most of the time, there is a lot of purpose behind it. It's fucking funny.
Modern art, well, art or beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or however the fuck that saying goes. And to this beholder, all of this modern art stuff is a giant steaming pile of shite.
Yep. I agree.
mean, I've been to the Louvre. I've stood in front of the Mona Lisa. I have sat in absolute fucking awe in front of Jacques-Louis David's coronation of Napoleon that took him 3 years to complete. I've seen Giotto de Bondoni's St. Francis of Assisi receiving stigmata from all the way back when art was supposed to be reverence of what was being depicted and the time, effort and talent that went into making and immortalising this person or event. What we have now is a bunch of attention whores who won't even try to learn basic art skills. They won't even dedicate more than half an hour to actually creating their art pieces. I mean, look at them. Some of this shit would take me 5 minutes. It would take me 5 minutes to fucking make this shit. They don't even care about what they're making. A single look at the shit they make can tell you that. They just want everyone to think that they're so deep and insightful and random, lol, roar, XD, right? They're LARPers, right? They're little attention whores that are doing it either for attention or a quick payday, because there are some absolute fucking morons out there that will pay millions and millions of fucking pounds for something that literally can't be distinguished from literal trash. Classical art draws attention to what's important. Modern art draws attention to an artist who wishes they were important.
Yep. One is the good food that actually makes you nice, delicate, makes you nice and delicate. It's just the good stuff, and then there is McDonald's shit. Good. As it is, as I told from the start, this is pretty important for me personally, because the death of art is basically the death of any kind of rational thinking about things that you actually have in front of you. You literally have people who can just get a shoe, put it in the middle of the street, let it get run over of a car, and just say, yeah, that's art, that represents, I don't know, fucking workers' rights or something. And it's just pure bullshit. Yeah, I'm sorry. It is. I don't say that simplicity equals bad, but the shit that we have today, it's fact. It's fact. As easy as it is. But as it is, my acolytes, I hope you enjoyed it. Good night.